sinister yet joyous. A bird of the dead and of the living, of beginnings and the end of things. The cuckoo. Mythology and folklore surround many birds, such as magpies, crows, and swans. But none are as tied to the idea of time and the calendar like the cuckoo. Living in cloud cuckoo land, or Neolithic, the mythological city built by cuckoos in the clouds, written about by Aristophanes in the pre-biblical period, hinting at the mystery of this bird's habit of disappearing at the end of summer, and with its disappearance, the warmth of the sun. The connection with the sun's warmth and the appearance of the cuckoo goes back much further than the 5th century BC, however. Back to a time before the written word and to the beginnings of civilization, as we'll look at shortly. The murderous and sinister habits of this migrant bird are well studied and widely known to most. Being a brood parasite, it lays its own egg in the nest of a smaller bird. The cuckoo egg hatches before the host's bird's eggs and gets to work, struggling and heaving the other eggs out of the nest. Being the sole bird, it then has the full attention of the parent birds, who supply for its massive appetite. This behaviour has lent itself to the language, and is usually an expression of unwelcome characteristics in a person. Cuckoo, meaning a person with an unsound grasp of reality. Cuckold, cuckoo in the nest, and even a punishment, the cucking stool, which was employed to torture those accused of witchcraft until the early modern period. Across the continent of Europe, the bird derives its name from its distinct call, and in days far off and distant, this call would cheer the hearts of villagers and agricultural communities. Carrying the spring on its back, heralding spring's arrival and the beginning of the agricultural year. In Old English, the name of this bird was the gowk, traced back to the Old Norse gauka, in Celtic and Gaelic tongue, coy, and in Welsh, the cog. But you would have been foolish to think that spring had arrived in full force, for the cuckoo could bring with it the cuckoo spell, a furious gowk storm, catching out the eager farmers who sow their seeds and crop only to have them washed away or frozen by the storm. This link with foolishness is still present in Scotland. Gowk is also a Scottish term for a fool, and April the 13th was known as Gowk's Day or Fool's Day, and children will be sent on pointless and foolish errands, known as hunting the gowk. The cuckoo or gowk has also given its name to many landscape features such as cuckoo lumps, caves or pens, cuckoo cross, field, clough, hill and fen, but also standing stones and monoliths such as the cuckoo stone, which lies a short distance from Stonehenge, suggesting links with older springtime rituals. The cuckoo in the modern popular culture is inextricably linked to time. In the clocks made originally in the Black Forest region of Germany and popularised during the mid-19th century, but the timing and arrival of the cuckoo provides many meanings, omens and auguries that differ from one location to another. On hearing the call of this bird, many saw it as an auspicious omen of wealth, reaching into their pockets and turn over the coins or swap them from hand to hand in the hope of bringing fortune. Which side you hear the cuckoo was also seen as a portent. Heard on the right side was good for luck, but on the left, misery was coming your way. Heard from the north, an ill omen of death was said to be the outcome. In fact, many communities saw the cuckoo as a messenger of the dead, and its call represented news from long dead ancestors. How many calls you heard in folklore was an indication of how long you were to live. Strangely, a study completed on Danish farms in the early 2000s revealed that there is a correlation between cuckoo calls and the longevity of farmers. The more cuckoo calls that were heard, the longer the farmers lived. Amongst the so-called labouring classes, the first report of the cuckoo call would see workers in villages, towns and hamlets down their tools and give up their labours for the day and go to the pub and drink what was called cuckoo ale, a specially prepared fortified drink, sing songs, play games and generally get rowdy and misbehave, and following this be seen by the magistrate in what was known in some regions as a cuckoo court. Most of the folklore, however, surrounds the occupation of agriculture. A farmer who delays planting or sowing in days past was labelled a cuckoo farmer. If the call was heard while planting potatoes, it was often stated that you'd reap cuckoo potatoes or cuckoo barley, small and insubstantial. Hearing the cuckoo before the hawthorn buds had burst was also an ill omen, especially amongst dairy farmers. If the cuckoo sings on a bare thorn, sell your cow and buy some corn, suggesting a poor milk yield. The manner of luck which you received was said to be dependent in which month you heard the call. Hearing it sing after midsummer, in particular the 1st of July, was thought to ensure hard work at harvest time, so fat was the crop. And some farmers even used this to gauge how many hands they would hire at fairs to help at harvest time. It's these folkloric links to the vagaries of the weather which transports us back to the beginnings of civilization and those original farming communities thousands of years ago. Recently, an archaeologist, Dr. David Nance of Aberdeen University, has offered an intriguing theory about the possible link of cuckoo folklore going back to the Neolithic period and possible relationships to Neolithic monuments. Added to this are the many place names and features in the landscape, such as cuckoo pens, caves, clumps and so on. But it's one monument in particular which gave Dr. Nance the notion that this bird had a ritual part to play in its construction. Seahenge. Discovered in 1998, Seahenge comprises of 2 circular rings of oak posts, which are only revealed at the lowest tides of the year. One of the monuments is all but destroyed by the sea, but the other has been saved and extensively studied. The 4,000-year-old timber circle consists of 55 closely arranged oak posts, with a huge upturned tree stump at its centre, and called Seahenge due to its similar appearance to Stonehenge. Originally, it would have been sheltered by sand dunes, but rises in sea level over millennia covered it in mud and ensured its survival. Dendrochronology investigations have shown that the period in which the timbers were felled was the spring of 2049 BC. These studies have also shown that prior to this date, there was a prolonged period of severe and long-lasting winters, shown by the annular tree rings in the timbers. Dr. Nance suggests that the arrangement of the monument and its ritual purpose lived on well into the modern period. Originally thought to be a monument for the excarnation of the dead, a body placed onto the upturned tree stump so the birds and beasts could strip the corpse to the bone. He suggests the upright circle of posts symbolise a pen or cage, and the upturned tree stump symbolic of the cuckoo. This activity is remembered in the ritual of the pent cuckoo, a ritual to extend the length of summer and provide an increased harvest. A nest with a recently hatched cuckoo was penned in, essentially caged in with thorns or twigs to prevent it fledging and flying away. The cuckoo would then have a husband, someone who tended to it, feeding it, and therefore the cuckoo would ensure a longer or extended summer, unable to flee to warmer climes, and ensure a sumptuous harvest. The pent cuckoo was a ritual recorded up until the 19th century and extensively written about in The Myth of the Pent Cuckoo, a study in folklore by J.E. Field, 1913. Question is, are there other, older, ancient monuments such as Stonehenge, Woodhenge and Stanton Drew that could have been used in a similar manner and representing the same ritual? Our long gone ancestors' motivations and survival of this ritual folklore going back at least 4,000 years. The cuckoo truly puts us in touch with our ancient past. Or is this new revelation just cuckoo?